This is Marilyn. She was also known as John Brown and sometimes as Sammy Brown, and for many years she was one of Philadelphia's most fabulous drag artists. This is the story of how she discovered drag in 1953 at the age of 14. She wrote it all down on a yellow legal pad and gave me a copy. In the following clip, it is read by the transgender activist Pauline Park. The snapshots are from Marilyn's photo album. Here is the story in Marilyn's own words and pictures, voiced by Pauline.
In early spring of 1953, I got on a bus, rode to Philadelphia to see a movie. I was 14 years old. I got off at 13th and Market, walked a few steps, and there it was, the Family Theater. I paid my 25 cents, went in to enjoy the show. Little did I realize the action in the audience topped anything on the screen. Heads bobbing up and down, people changing seats every few minutes. A guy in his early 20s sat next to me, unzipped his pants and took out this whopper. He took my hand and put it on it. I've been messing around since I was 12, so I knew the score. I stroked him a few times, he came, zipped up and left. Not a word was spoken between us. I decided I wanted to watch the movie, so I put the seat up next to me so no one could sit down. I stayed for a couple of hours and decided to go home, back to Camden where I lived. Walking to the bus stop, this guy comes up to me and says, "I saw what you were doing in the movie. Can I give you a ride home?" I thought, great. He looked maybe 35 and didn't look crazy or anything. Well, he had a 52 green Pontiac convertible and his name was Joe. We went over the bridge down Broadway to South Camden where I lived. We got to the house and I asked him to come in. My mom and my Aunt Blanche were getting ready to go to Chubby's neighborhood club. I introduced them to Joe and said he was one of my school teachers. He suggested we drop the ladies off at the club and then go for a ride. We rode around for a while and then he says, "Can I blow you?" I said, "Sure." We pulled into a wooded area. He did me, asked for nothing in return, then took me home. Before I got out of the car, he put a bill in my hand and asked if he could see me again. I said, "Sure, anytime." I went in, went upstairs, put the bill, which I thought was $1, under my pillow and went to sleep. Got up to go to school, looked at the bill, and saw it was a 20. Do you know what $20 was to a 14-year-old in 1953? I was so excited. Some new shirts and all kinds of neat stuff. I told my friend Jack about it. He couldn't believe it. Joe called me that Saturday, took me to Atlantic City, walked the boards, went to a movie. He never asked for anything in return, and it was always a 20 when I left him. I saw him every Saturday for about 2 months. We went to Woodside Park, Valley Forge, all kinds of neat places. One Saturday he said, "Let's go to Philadelphia. There's a movie I want you to see." The movie was Moulin Rouge at the Trans-Lux Theater at 16th and Chestnut. Afterwards we went for a burger at Dewey's and he gave me a small box. I opened it up and it was a gold Bulova watch. I put it on, loved it. We went and started to walk up Walnut Street. He said, "I'm going to take you to a place I think you'll like." We walked up to 18th and Walnut and I saw what looked like a big park with lots of people walking around. We went in the 18th Street entrance and coming towards us was this big, beautiful black girl in red toreador pants, a halter top, and huge hoop earrings. She stopped and asked me my name. I said, "John." She said, "I'm Sarah, Sarah Vaughan." I said, "Sarah Vaughan, the singer?" She laughed and said, "What farm are you from?" She asked Joe if she could take me around to meet some of her friends. He didn't seem too happy, but I went anyway. We walked around, and on some benches were all these guys, some very feminine with lots of makeup. They had movie star names: Betty Grable, Lana, Rita, Susan. I was amazed. I thought I'd met the neatest bunch of people, and I felt I belonged right there with them. Joe found me on a bench with these screaming queens and said, "Come on, I'll take you home." I said, "No, I'd rather stay here with my new friends." He walked over and took the watch off my wrist and said, "Goodbye." Rittenhouse Square became my whole life. I went on the bus almost every night. Fare was only 20 cents. One night, two older queens, the Duchess and the Baron, decided I should have a name. These two were really something. They printed a monthly 5-page paper of gay life in the square. They bestowed celebrity names on newcomers. It was decided I would become Zsa Zsa as she starred in the movie that brought me to the square. I said, no, I want to be Marilyn. But we already have a Marilyn, they screamed. It was a sailor from the Navy Yard. Well, all the girls there took a vote and I was christened Marilyn. This was late spring of 1953. Summer was great, going to Atlantic City on weekends, gay beach and more people, a lot from New York. Fall, I started 10th grade. Senior high school was awful. Walking down a hallway one morning, two girls said, "Here comes Christine Jorgensen." On November 12th, I ran away from home and lived with a professional drag queen, Renee. I turned 15 November 26th. I stayed away till Christmas Eve and decided to go home. With me were Leslie Marlowe, an impersonator, Jay Green, a stripper, Baldy, a 60-year-old man who helped me money-wise. Mom was sitting at the kitchen table with Uncle Buddy. I introduced Mom to all my friends. She was so happy to see me, she started crying. Uncle Bud screamed, "Betty, I'll never speak to you again. Leaving these freaks in your house who are ruining your son's life?" He stomped out. Well, all went well until January 2nd. A truant officer came to the house and told Mom he would have to take me to City Hall to find out where I was for almost 2 months. I wore a powder blue suit Baldy had given me. I told the two officers what went on while I was away, and I was taken to the Camden Detention Center. I was there 30 days. They had a trial, and since no school in Camden County would accept me, I was sentenced to Jamesburg State Home for Boys till I was 18. Jamesburg with over 500 young boys, and I'm going there. That's the beginning of another story.
At the conclusion of her memoir, Marilyn added this: "My 1954 timetable: Camden Detention Center, January 2nd to 31st. Jamesburg, February 1st to June 3rd. State Diagnostic Center, shock treatments to cure me, June 4th to August 20th. Jamesburg, August 21st to November 1st. Released 25 days before my 16th birthday and back home cured."